Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show Perspective, where we bring you detailed analysis of key national and international issues. Today we're going to talk about the concept or the aspects of financial inclusion. Now, financial inclusion is an important keystone of the socio-economic development of a country, as well as a significant enabler of poverty alleviation and boosting prosperity. Bringing every citizen under the formal banking system, encouraging digital payments and making financial services easily accessible and affordable for people across the country are some key aspects of financial inclusion. According to a recently released SBI Research report on a financial access survey, India has stolen a march in financial inclusion with the initiation of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana accounts since 2014, enabled by robust digital infrastructure, careful recalibration of bank branches and use of the Banking Correspondent model. The mobile and internet banking transactions per 1,000 adults have increased to 13,615 in 2019 from just 183 in 2015. Now, the number of bank branches per 1 lakh adults have also risen to 14.7 in 2020 from 13.6 in 2015, which is higher than Germany, China and South Africa as well. The SBI's research report also says that states with higher PMJDY account balances have seen a perceptible decline in crime as well. RBI's annual financial inclusion or FI index for the period ending March 2021 also stood at 53.9 against 43.4 for the period ending March 2017. This FI index captures information on various aspects of financial inclusion and comprises of 3 broad parameters: access, usage and quality. In today's episode, we will discuss and analyze all aspects of this issue, including the challenges for the road ahead and their solutions as well. And we're joined by a distinguished panel of experts today to make us understand and analyze all aspects of this. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with, we have with us Dr. SAURABH. He is the CEO of UIDAI. We are also joined by Mr. RAGHAVENDRA Singh, President, Group Public Affairs and Government Business with Kotak Mahindra Bank. And Mr. DINESH KHARA is also joining us, Chairman of State Bank of India. Welcome, all of you gentlemen, to Sansad TV. Let me begin with you, Mr. KHARA, straight away. The SBI Research report also says something which is now clearly evident, that there has been an exponential growth when we're talking about financial inclusion. What we want to understand is, what are the key elements which have contributed to this growth, and also how have the public sector banks, made their contribution in overall financial inclusion via these different aspects and vehicles which have been used?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. The fact remains that the trinity of Jan Dhan, which is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile, that has actually helped in better channelizing all the government subsidies and also helped in curbing the unproductive expenditure. So which in a way has gone into productive uses. And it may not be out of place to mention that in State Bank of India, we brought about 13 crore plus customers under the ambit of the financial inclusion. Mm-hmm. And when we look at the growth in the financial inclusion activities, it has actually witnessed a significant growth. When we opened these accounts, they were all zero balance accounts. And today, at the bank level, we have got about 38,000 crore deposit, which is coming from these accounts, which means that it has actually helped in channelizing the savings of the rural masses.
Okay.
And I think it goes a long way in terms of the capital creation for these kind of this group of population, which earlier one was not part of the inclusive growth of the country. So I think this is quite a remarkable change which we have witnessed.
Okay. So capital creation is one aspect, but that's not the only thing which financial inclusion is limited to, as the research report also points out some very key elements there vis-a-vis the socio-economic aspect. And how do you think, Mr. KHARA, it translates to that particular level when we look at the crime graph or the declining crime graph in several states, and also, the use of intoxicants such as alcohol and tobacco, and that is being linked to these Jan Dhan accounts?
Actually, we had a in-house study which was carried out, and that study shows that both statistically and it has been shown that there is a significant drop in consumption of the intoxicants like alcohol and tobacco products in the states where more PMJDY accounts are opened. So I think, and the fact remains that once the people have started receiving money in these accounts, it has certainly helped in curbing the unproductive expenditure also into activities like alcohol and tobacco in these areas.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps part of it could be because the women folk of the household have got these accounts and they have got better control on the money which is getting transferred into these accounts through various subsidies, etc., or the DBT which comes into these accounts.
Okay. So far, so good vis-a-vis, this particular aspect of our economy. But looking forward, and looking at the kind of challenges we might face, Mr. KHARA, in your views, for example, when we are to look at the infrastructure aspect, the connectivity, because most of these has happened due to digital, technology as well. Also, the socio-cultural barriers. How are those being tackled, or the plan to tackle these challenges in the near future?
See, I think as far as the socio-cultural barriers are concerned, we have got a definite inroads into the rural areas, and we are doing it with the help of our correspondents, BC banking correspondents and their CSPs. And on an average, we are opening about 25,000 odd PMJDY accounts on a daily basis even now. And also the pace of coverage has got further accelerated in the recent past when we embarked upon a saturation drive, and we could see that there are opportunities where we can open these accounts. And I think overall, I would say that there is a great awareness all across the society, and people are willing to come forward and see to it that they avail the benefits which are available through these accounts. And I think as far as social constraints are concerned, I think they have been taken care of to a greater extent. This is what our ground level experience is.
Okay. Clearly, I'll come back to you quickly. Let me first take in Mr. Raghavendra Singh as well. Mr. Singh, when we do a comparative analysis, since Mr. KHARA has laid down the basic infrastructure for this particular discussion, pointed out how it has happened and where have we reached. Then the share of private sector banks versus the share of public sector banks, specifically when we look at PMJDY accounts, a lot needs to be done there, a lot of ground to cover for private sector banks.
Sure. No, thank you for having me here, first of all. And I agree that, we started late, but as Mr. KHARA has mentioned that we are picking up, and we picked up well from there. We also did a lot of digital intervention, especially if you've heard about 811. And I'll just take 1 minute to explain what 811 is.
Okay.
When demonetization happened on 8th of November, we took help of Aadhaar number, and through Aadhaar, we are opening direct bank account. And I'm happy to report that today on a daily basis, we are opening about 40,000 accounts on 811 itself. It is a downloadable bank account which is there. And through that, about 50% is going into areas where we never had branches. So it took us some time because we were physically not present. But I agree that financial inclusion is an important step. And through that, the way government has built up the stack, which is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile, and then we building up a 811 kind of application, it helped us achieving that target.
Okay. So Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile, there's that particular trinity both of you are mentioning. We have with us, the CEO of UIDAI as well, Dr. GARG. Aadhaar seemingly is one of those three key elements. The question which I have is, all of us know that, yes, it is very important, but how it works?
I think the other speakers have mentioned about the use of technology, how it has been leveraged for financial inclusion. And because of that, now we are at a stage where we have a population of around 130 crore, and that's the number of Aadhaars that have been generated, since 99.5% of the adults have an Aadhaar number. And along with that, we have around 140 crore bank accounts and another 120 crore odd mobile phones. Not necessarily that every person has a bank account or a mobile. For some people may have more than one. But the fact remains that the penetration of mobiles has been very effectively leveraged by the banking system to reach that stage where we are, which is what Mr. KHARA and Mr. Raghvendra Singh mentioned. And along with this, I think more importantly is the way that Aadhaar seeks to be used and will continue to seek to be used in this manner, so that whether it's know your customer, which is possible through the eKYC, or the financial bridges that have been developed, whether it's the Aadhaar payment bridge or the Aadhaar-enabled payment system, which look at the first mile and the last mile aspects of payments. And I can just add that the banking correspondence was being mentioned by Mr. KHARA. Across the country and across banks, we have more than 50 lakh banking correspondents. So we have around 6 or 6.5 lakh villages, and we have banking correspondents with small micro ATMs, which is again leveraging technology to be able to ensure that every small kirana shop can also act as a banking correspondent. And that's the reason we have 4 to 5 crore transactions per day across the system where Aadhaar authentication is being used. So I think it's a combination of innovative use of technology and, more importantly, leveraging technology given the penetration of internet connectivity and the mobiles, and which the financial system has really leveraged to ensure that the goal of the government for financial inclusion is achieved.
Wonderful. Those are very impressive figures there, which you spoke about in terms of banking correspondence and how Aadhaar is one important key element of that jam troika, which we talk about, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile. One quick and last question to you, Mr. KHARA, before you leave us, and that is, you spoke about how we have achieved this. The numbers themselves tell us, a very glorious story in terms of the way the number of accounts have been opened, and the initial focus has been to provide the bouquet of basic financial services. But now the challenge will be taking it to the next level. And as all of you are pointing out, obviously technology will play an important role there. What's the plan?
See, we are using this as providing the required safety net of social security schemes like APY, PMJDY and PMSY. So that way, I think in terms of APY, we have a market share of about 22%. And PMJDY, which is again a social security scheme in terms of Jan Dhan Bima Yojana, we have a market share of almost about 20%. And in the PMSY, we have got a market share of 27.31%. So I think apart from stopping the leakage in the system when it comes to DBT, these are the other benefits apart from channelizing or developing the habit of saving in the rural masses, where the average savings have gone to about 3,000 rupees and now it is being channelized for the development of the economy. These are the other benefits which have been extended. And I think it will go a long way in terms of creating the social fabric in the country. And I have full faith in the scheme and the opportunity which it offers to the system. And I think in due course, it's going to be the most important component of the banking in the country.
There it is. Thank you so much, Mr. KHARA, for joining us and sharing your views there on this aspect. Since you're running short of time, I'll continue the discussion with Mr. Raghavendra there and Dr. Garg as well. Mr. Raghavendra, let me come to you. And now that we're talking about, how this entire bouquet of, basic financial services is being utilized via the JAM Trinity, how is it that the private sector banks are planning to move ahead in this direction to ensure that this is taken to the next level? You have a ground to cover, as you're earlier pointing out, in terms of, Jan Dhan accounts. That apart, it needs to be taken to the next level, just the way the kind of services the urban customer has, the similar benefit and the facility should be available to the rural customer as well.
I completely agree with you. And I think, I must point out while Mr. KHARA pointed about, the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana and various other yojanas. But the important factor remains also that we need to get credit growth from these markets, and the way now I would say the next challenge amongst us and the way government is working is that how do we ensure that credit reaches to the right people, credit reaches to the rural entrepreneur who is ready to take up the challenge and fight, the urban sector or people who are there in the urban areas. And it is impressive that the way PM Swanidhi and various other schemes are coming out. Today, a small vendor who is there coming from a village, keeping a small cart in any small town or even in a big town, is able to get credit because of these financial inclusion plan. I think that is very impressive, and private sector is also keeping the pace with it. Also, to give you a report that on ECLGS, private sector has performed almost equally with public sector banks. I think both are now realizing the importance of it.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. SAURABH Garg here as well. Dr. Garg, you were earlier speaking about the significance of Aadhaar, in this jam trinity as well when we're talking about the overall concept of financial inclusion. Now, the question I have is in terms of, as Mr. KHARA was also pointing out, the importance or the significance of financial literacy, awareness, that also becomes really important when we are trying to, upscale from what we have achieved so far.
Absolutely. And I think the first step in that financial literacy is obviously that how people can operate bank accounts. And I think that's the first stage that we have reached with the bank penetration and account penetration reaching the levels that we have discussed. The second is obviously using these bank accounts. So the DBT mechanism has helped in this. And we have more than 300 central government schemes and more than 400 state government schemes, which are directly sending money to the bank accounts using the Aadhaar payment bridge. And given the large network of bank mitras and banking correspondents, people are able to withdraw money also from these bank accounts. And that's the second step on the usage part. The third is obviously what Mr. Raghavendra Singh mentioned on how to ensure that credit is available to those who have bank accounts and are using them. And that's an area, I think, which is still work in progress, where how we can use transactions that people are doing on a day-to-day basis, how we can keep a track of those transactions, and that builds a credit history for them so that it becomes easier to give small ticket loans of maybe a few hundred rupees. And I think that's where technology would help to ensure that rather than looking at lumpy loans only, we are able to look at small ticket loans, which a person might require on a day-to-day basis, and yet the interest rates are not usurious and that they can get at much, much lower rates than what they are. And I think that's what a lot of work is being done by a number of fintech companies and a number of banks who are working in this area.
There
was also reference to some of the other schemes. There was mention of the pension schemes and the insurance.
The social security schemes.
For example, in the Atal Pension Yojana, I think we still have around 3.1 crore accounts. So on the other hand, we have bank accounts which are 140 crores. We have telephone connections or mobile connections which are 120 crores with a 130 odd crore population. And I think that's the area where a lot of the financial sector is working on how to ensure that a larger proportion of people have social security, and one of the most basic social security is having a pension account, and the Atal Pension Yojana is a step in that direction. It's had significant growth in the last few years, and the total pension holders are nearly reaching 5 crores, and the PFRDA and other agencies are working around it. The second area is insurance. PMJDY Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana was being mentioned, which has had greater penetration because overall there are around more than 30 crore life insurance policies, and that also is also partly due to the fact that the LIC has a deep network of agents across the country. But even then, how we can ensure that a second aspect of social security insurance, there is greater penetration and how it can be deepened. We are adding nearly 3 crore policies year to year. And I think that's where the growth will happen, so that in pension, in insurance, which is what will build up social security. And that's maybe the next step in financial inclusion. And maybe the last, which we are obviously working towards, is how people can, in rural areas, make small ticket investments. Also.
Indeed.
And that's the last part of it, I suppose, will go as we go towards social security and better investing opportunity.
Indeed, it's just not about savings; it's about investment as well, and it's about these social security schemes. Now, this is a a very important aspect, Mr. Singh. I'd like to bring you in here because this is not only important from the financial inclusion point of view, but when we look at the private sector banks or even public sector banks, this is a lucrative business segment for the banking sector also. So therein comes the importance of financial literacy, one, and two, ensuring just as Dr. Garg was pointing out, just opening these accounts will not be sufficient. We'll have to ensure that these are operative and they are utilized for various other purposes, not for receiving money for the DBT schemes.
No, I agree, and here I must compliment Dr. Garg and his team for increasing the use cases of Aadhaar. We have seen recent gadget notification also, and I think the way now within the ambit of Supreme Court judgment on privacy, the way Aadhaar can be used, it's a I would say it will work to a lot of advantage to investment companies also, because a lot of these new KUAs will come in which will use that data and which will give ease of doing business at a faster pace. Currently, let's say a mutual fund investment we only see from largely urban areas. Slowly, rural areas will start coming into it. People have already started talking about it. So that's a big advantage out there. On the literacy part also, I think, the other thing which I wanted to bring is that the way we bring technology to them, we need to bring even the literacy through technology, so we are working on some of the investor awareness videos, which are like simple, vernacular, can go up to the last mile and make sure that the person is aware about the security features, the kind of whether he can share a OTP, should not share a OTP, what kind of investments he should look into it, and all these things will come into play. So my sense is in next maybe 2 to 3 years, will be a huge amount of growth out there. The other thing is, as Dr. Garg also mentioned about credit growth, and if Amazon can do buy now, pay later, why not a big data from Aadhaar and various other entities?
Indeed, that's a wonderful example.
Yeah. So we must have that small ticket loan available and make sure that the rural consumer is also aware about the product. He's buying the product, but he should also be having credit available for that.
Okay, indeed. So quick concluding comments from both of you in terms of, the road ahead. We have already covered various aspects. But one important thing is technology, and therein comes really important because all of this is connected through technology. And Dr. Garg, in your views, what needs to be done in terms of shoring up the tech infra when we're talking about, going a little deeper, ensuring that the bouquet of benefits or the bouquet of services also gets extended, and obviously people will have to be upskilled in terms of their technological awareness?
In fact, the Digital India program of the government is focused entirely on that, on ensuring that the benefits of technology are available even to the most remote area of the country where a person may reside. So whether it's in terms of the infrastructure, whether it's in terms of ensuring broadband connectivity through the different programs of the government, as also how to, on the softer aspects, on awareness and literacy. I think that's the focus of the Digital India program. And you would have seen sustained progress over the past 5 to 7 years or a decade. And I think that's the program that's being worked on along with the private sector, along with the different associations that are there, and looking at both the hardware aspects and the software.
Okay.
To just give one more example, we have this customer service centers or CSCs,
the CSCs,
which are now nearly 4.5 lakh customer service centers exist in the 6.5 lakh villages. So even if a person doesn't have a laptop or a computer of their own, they can go to a nearest CSC and access through the portals and material which is available in all languages. So it's not only in English or Hindi or some of the major regional languages, but the focus is to ensure that this material is available in the language which an individual is comfortable.
Okay. Mr. Singh, your concluding comments there vis-a-vis, the tech infra and the need to go ahead and give a boost and the push there.
No, I agree with Dr. Garg that Digital India is doing phenomenal work. I think the answer also lies in making sure that in next 2 years or 3 years, we should, replace every feature phone with a 4G or a 5G enabled low-cost phone. If we are able to do that, and then with basic apps being embedded into it, I think we will achieve the target much faster and much easier along with financial literacy. So I would say that it has to be both the macro infrastructure as well as the micro infrastructure.
Okay, there it is. Thank you so much, Mr. Raghavendra Singh and Dr. Saurabh Garg as well for sharing your important views and insights as our experts were pointing out. And Mr. KHARA was also earlier elaborating upon. These are the key elements of the financial inclusion. A lot of work has been done and we have achieved a lot, but there are still challenges which remain, and those challenges are being tackled. The key aim or the goal is to ensure that the last mile connectivity in terms of financial inclusion takes place. Everybody gets the benefit of becoming a part of the financial infrastructure and is able to use the benefits of that particular financial infra, which is already in place. We'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television. Thank you.